Thanks for tuning in to Tapped In. If you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed on the mats, come find your direction in our DFM Coaching BJJ School community. Now, let's get started.
Welcome to Tapped In. My name is David Figueroa-Martinez of DFM Coaching, and today we're going to be talking about how to research gyms. So I've tackled this discussion maybe in one other episode, and I've written about it. But as I've gotten more into having to research gyms for myself now as a black belt, I've added a couple of things that I had not done before. When I've talked to people and I've told them, hey, this is what I want you to do when you want to get into Jiu-Jitsu, Google, check out social media, look at reviews. All those are great, and I'm going to get into a little bit more in depth as I discuss this as an instructor. I am in the middle of trying to expand my workshops and seminars. I would like to get to the point where I can have a seminar maybe 2 or 3 times a year at different gyms within San Diego County. And I've gotten to the point where I'm now teaching at Five Peaks. I think it's been a year and a half, maybe a little longer. I'm about to hit the year mark at Sunny Dojo. These are 2 gyms that I do workshops at that I do not exclusively train or pay into. The first, Five Peaks, reached out to me at one point, and then I reached out to Sunny Dojo. So I'm starting to build out a little bit of a network for myself that I'm really proud of. And in the process of this, I have gotten to do research on other gyms in hopes of opening up maybe a workshop or a seminar at their spot. And my goal has been to do this at smaller gyms, specifically because I think small gyms are often neglected or looked past, because everyone at the level that does seminars and workshops is usually looking at the bigger gyms because more people and whatnot. So I personally feel like the smaller gyms are kind of neglected. So I decided that, I'm going to build up these relationships there, and hopefully it opens up avenues for me. But even if it doesn't, I enjoy doing these a lot. It's a lot of fun for me, and I love building the networking aspects for myself and them. But in doing them and trying to expand, I've had to do more legwork than I ever anticipated because of everything that's going on in Jiu-Jitsu and sexual assault and grooming and whatnot. It is prevalent, and I don't want to blame this on Jiu-Jitsu because it's not. It is prevalent anywhere where you're going to have people, kids, and a power dynamic. Hands down, it's going to happen in all these locations, whether it's religious, whether it's foster homes, whether it's sports, your traditional sports, or jiu-jitsu or wrestling, anywhere where there's a power dynamic and there are women and kids, you're going to see some of this. And I personally don't think it's ever going to get completely rooted out, but the sport and these entities can do perhaps a better job. As someone who's trying to expand his workshops and seminars, I'm also looking at these gyms, and I get into these moments where I have these promising outlooks. And there was a gym, and I'm not going to mention them, but you can do your own Google search if you want, in San Diego, between the 163 and the 15 off of Claremont Mesa Boulevard. There's a person there that, when I looked at the gym, I was excited because it was apparently owned by a woman. They had different arts. It wasn't a big name. And I'm like, okay, this could be a spot for me to do some of these things. And I started doing some Google searches, and I started looking at some things, and I'm like, oh, this is promising. Sounds good. Sounds like a spot that I can approach. It's not far from home. It's not going to be a long drive. I can build something here. And then I happened to start searching reviews on Yelp and Google. And on Yelp, some of the students were posting certain things about a certain instructor, and it caught my eye immediately. I was like, I didn't know this person was here. And then I remember knowing the name as someone that was problematic at best. Definitely not someone I would send anyone that I cared about to. And then I started searching some stuff on YouTube with that name, and a bunch of shit came up. A bunch of stuff came up in Google and stuff on social media. Some things to keep in mind. When you go to these schools and you look at their IG page, you're going to see exactly what I want you to see. Even me, when I post, I'm giving a certain vibe. I try to be on social media as transparent and genuine as I can be. So on social media, you're gonna know what I'm into, the movies I like, the games I'm playing, the sports I'm into. You're gonna hear some of my vulnerabilities, the things that I'm struggling with. I try to be as transparent as I can. I think there's a genuineness that gets displayed in what I can share. But when you're on most Instagram pages, it's going to be, in essence, a highlight reel of what you're looking for. Oh, does the class look fun? They do a technique. So start looking through that. If you're looking at an Instagram page and you're not seeing a whole lot of movement or a whole lot of stuff on it, could be nothing. Could be someone that's just not aware how important that is. But the better feel you can get off the Instagram feed, great. Is it lively? Is there a bunch of people there? Are people laughing, smiling? It's a great indicator, not the end all be all. When you go to their website and you look at a website for the page or the gym, are there testimonials? Can I see the instructors' faces, names, and credentials? There's some gyms out here that don't put anything on the instructor. And that's not necessarily a bad thing in some instances, because they might have a generic website where maybe an instructor goes in and out and they realize that maybe we have instructors that teach part-time or not as much. We're not going to notify them. But at least the head instructor should be there. The most ranking or senior, the owner, should obviously be there. But most places, they'll put the cadre of instructors there, which I find extremely helpful. They'll put the head instructor, the following black belts, the brown belts, the coaches that are at purple and maybe blue, maybe the kids coaches. I personally love that because I can see who I'm going to see when I move there or when I go to that gym. Some gyms don't put anything. A little bit of a red flag. The gym that I'm talking about, I was going through their website, and I noticed that because they do different disciplines, the disciplines had the class that you were going to take along with the coach/instructor name on it. And they had a name for every class except Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I found odd. I'm like, all right, that's a little odd, but whatever. And I'm searching and I'm looking around, and usually these places have a gallery of pictures. And the picture that I saw for Jiu-Jitsu, I could never see the instructor. That's a red flag to me. Why can't I see your instructor? Why can't I see the instructor who I'm going to meet and potentially take classes from? When you go to my feed, when you go to anything that I'm doing, you see me. When you go to most gyms, you see the head instructor and the following instructors after that. I didn't see anything there. I thought that was the weirdest shit. And that forced me to dig a little deeper. And then I started going into their reviews on Google and what's the other one? The name escapes me. Yelp. And one, I check out the worst, I check out the best. But I just started skimming. And I was looking for pictures. I was like, someone's got to post something so I can see who the instructor is. And I'm going through these feeds and I'm going through these different posts. And bing, someone pops up. Such and such is a great instructor. They name them. Their name is not on the website. It's a recent post. And then I keep searching and I find some more. And then I find pictures of the instructor that's not listed on the website. They never appear on the Instagram. Massive red flag. There could be a a fine reason behind that, but it's not plausible to me. You want your instructors front facing because they are the ones that are going to be interacting with students. At this particular gym, I got the verification of this is a spot that I need to go to. And so I did not approach them. But you have to understand some of these gyms are owned and ran by people who have records or legal ramifications that have been presided over them, have done things that maybe they are not proud of at the moment. Maybe they're fine, perfectly fine. Hell, some of us, we could have changed our lives around. Fine, I get it. But the act of not presenting that to the student front facing is a red flag for me. So I didn't approach this gym. But there are other gyms out there where people have done things and done some really ugly things, and they're teaching jiu-jitsu to women and children. They're teaching jiu-jitsu to people who they shouldn't be around. There is no presiding organization, even the IBJJF, that would prevent someone from opening a gym and teaching kids and instructors. So when you get to these places, you should request or ask, do you guys do background checks on your instructors? If they don't, not everyone does, but that's a great green flag if they do. Why would you not? Why would I not want to make sure that the instructors that are teaching women and children, and men for that matter, not be someone that I can trust, someone who doesn't have any weird cases behind them? Why not? So again, read the reviews with a really critical eye. If a person is being mentioned in those reviews, but they're not being mentioned on the website, massive red flag to me. And I know there could be a healthy relation or healthy response or reason behind that, but that's weird to me. Very weird. When you go to these gyms and maybe everything checks out and you've decided that you want to go to the gym and you want to check them out, pay attention to the class. Pay attention to how the students are corrected. If the instructor shows forms of impatience with white belts, red flag. You may want to go somewhere else. I understand they might be having a bad day, but they understand that you're watching. They understand that you're checking the gym out. They understand that every time they step on the mat, you are on display and it is showtime. If you can't keep your patience and your wits about you when you're teaching a class for an hour, hour and a half, some cases 2 hours, you don't belong there. And I've been around instructors that are very impatient with students. It's not a fun episode. It's not fun to sign up for. So if you're seeing it even during your trial period, go somewhere else. I don't think I've ever lost my patience with someone. I'm super patient with students. I take my time. I understand students learn differently. Sometimes I got to take a little extra time. Sometimes I got to accept that they're only going to learn so much that day and I got to add a little bit later. But when you're an instructor who takes their pride in their work, you're going to take that time. If you're someone who kind of looks at this as a paycheck or you look at this and you're just like, well, whatever, then you're going to have your moments where you lose your patience and you're going to lash out. You're going to say something that you shouldn't have said. Pay attention to how the students respond to things. Get there a little early. When the coach walks into a room, what's the vibe like? Are the people happy to see them or not? Big indicator. I've been in a spot where the coach walks in and everyone, and I've said this before, everyone puckers. No, thank you. And I've been in spots where the coach will walk in and everyone's excited. Everyone's happy to see them. Not the end all be all, but it's worth paying attention to. Ask yourself a couple of questions. Did they explain the technique well enough when they had questions, or did they try to humiliate the student? You'd be surprised how often the second happens. Did they model calm and respect? or is it kind of chaotic? How do they respond to women? How do they respond to kids? Maybe it's a kids class you're watching. How do they respond to them? This used to be an indicator for me. How many women are in the gym? Not an end all be all, but sometimes a little bit of an indicator of some things, depending on the class. For example, I have a 5 a.m. class. I don't have a lot of women. It's 5 a.m. I don't have a lot of students. Like I don't have 30, 40, 50 students. I got more like 20, 21, 22. And they don't all come at the same time. But if you're at an evening class and you're there for a week doing the trial period and you don't see any women, that might be a red flag. Not end all be all, but something you might want to concern yourself with. Pay attention to how they structure class. Is it chaotic? Are the movements connected to one another? When they have to demonstrate something on the opposite sex, how's that handled? Does it feel weird? Does it pass your vibe check? Those are healthy things to kind of pay attention to. Your gut is going to be huge here. You know when something feels off. So if it doesn't feel right to you, maybe you keep searching. Maybe you go to another gym. And if you got to drive an extra 5-10 minutes to another gym or pay a little bit more, but it feels right, go that route. Don't try to skimp on money or time simply because this is more convenient, but the vibe feels off. Don't go that route. Do something else. Ask the students questions. Hey, how do you feel about such and such? How's the vibe here? How's training handled? Have there ever been any issues here? That type of stuff. You could ask the front desk that question as well. Ask the front desk, do you have a policy in place for complaints? Whether that's inappropriate behavior by an instructor or complaints from another student. How do you guys handle that? It's a fair question, and it's a question that should be an answer should be available to the front desk person or the head instructor when that happens. If they don't have an answer, a little worrisome. You've never considered it. You've never had the issue. You don't have something in place. Pay attention to the power dynamic. Pay attention to how are women addressed. Are there women in leadership positions? Are there female coaches? Are there female instructors? Is there a female front desk person? Like, pay attention to the entire thing. The most healthy gyms that I've been at have great mix of men and women. Women, and you look around, like I've been to, for example, and I'm hoping this doesn't bite me on the ass one day when some allegation comes out. I've been to Alliance San Diego. Beautiful gym. Bunch of students of every rank, men, women, and children. Bunch of like, I go there. I love the environment. Love the environment. I go to Five Peaks. Not a big gym, but the vibe is great. Like, you got to choose, and you really sometimes have to go on your gut while doing some of these other things. But understand that if it does not vibe with you, it does not feel right, go somewhere else. There's plenty of gyms, especially if you're in San Diego, SoCal. You got gyms in every direction. If you're at another spot where it's a little more desolate, I get it. Sometimes you got to pick a gym based on location. It's not the greatest thing for you. May not be the greatest training, but I'm training. I get it. I don't know. It's just this climate currently with everything that's going on with Atos and some of these other gyms and Checkmat apparently and whatnot. It is hard to really give people sound advice, especially if you don't have anyone in the jiu-jitsu space. Like, I know certain gyms that I'm not doing business with and I'm not going to. I would never send someone to. And then I know gyms that I'm like, yeah, that's a great place for what I know. And then something comes out and you're like, all right, sorry I sent you there. Like, you never really know. Pay attention, ask questions, If the vibe feels off, go somewhere else. A lot of this is going to be just what feels right to you. But if you could follow some of the things I suggested, it's going to be a huge plus. It's one I forgot. Do a Reddit check. Go on Reddit. Go into like BJJ drama or BJJ, or I think the other one's BJJ women, and just do a search for the gym you're at or the coach. Do the same in Google. You'd be surprised how much shit comes up. You would be surprised. Anyways, if you have any questions on this, or maybe you need some feedback or a suggestion on a gym in your area, I'm not the end all be all, but I have a decent feel for certain areas. Let me know. DFM.2099 on Instagram and Threads. We also have a school program or a community that you can sign up for completely free. I get all my recorded workshops on there. Any questions, please let me know. Please like, share, review. Until next time, thank you so much.